Good afternoon. Welcome to the first of the AUSA Military Family Forums of the 2012 AUSA's annual meeting. My name is Patty Barron, and I am the new director of AUSA Family Programs Directorate. Many of you are used to seeing Sylvia Kidd in this position, and Sylvia, the spouse of the Sergeant Major of the Army retired Richard Kidd, established the Family Programs Directorate in 1994. Since that year, Sylvia was able to grow and create a program unlike any other among service-focused associations. Sylvia retired in December of 2011, and although she was not able to join us today, I hope that she is watching on our live stream. So if you would, please join me in a round of applause as we pay tribute to Sylvia Kidd for her lifetime of service and to Army families. Thank you. This year's forum will shine the light on issues affecting the reintegration of soldiers back into the family unit and the resilience of family members. Through challenging times, we recognize that although we continue to be a country at war, the landscape is changing and more Army families are working on reunification issues that in past years of high operational tempo were not always given the attention those issues deserved. We have purposely brought in voices from the field, real-life experiences shared by spouses and programs on the ground who have found a formula that has worked or at the very least have identified what is needed to make things work. We are also launching a virtual delegate pilot this year. Scattered throughout installations both CONUS and OCONUS are virtual delegates who are watching us through our live feed as we speak. So, hello, virtual delegates. Hope you can see me. Your participation is going to be a vital contribution towards allowing us to bring the forums and the educational experience they provide to all corners of our Army. We are committed to explore new and innovative ways to make these fora available to as many Army family members as possible and Army supporters as well. A quick word about our question and answer period. We're going to do something a little bit different this year. We have asked our virtual delegates to submit questions using our Facebook page. Did you know we have a Facebook page? Have you liked us lately? Using our Facebook page. So it's our intent to bring questions to the speakers that come from both the in-house audience as well as the virtual delegates. So virtual delegates, please, as the questions pop in your mind, jot them down and post them on our wall so that we have time to actually download them and get them up here and
Good afternoon. Thank you, Patty. Thank you for that kind introduction. It is an honor to be here and an honor to be part of this event that celebrates strong Army families, like the Mendelssohn family from the California National Guard, the AUSA Family of the Year, who you will have the opportunity to meet this afternoon. Before I begin, I'd like to recognize and thank a few special people. First, I'd like to recognize the organizers from AUSA, especially Patty Barron. Patty, you are so instrumental and dedicated to the success of this year's Family Forums, and we appreciate everything you do each and every day. I also want to thank the senior spouses who contributed their thoughts and ideas throughout this past year, especially Charlene Austin, Jean Chandler, Lil Ingram, Linda Talley, Ann Campbell, and Margie Ferreter. Thank you so much, ladies. Finally, I'd like to recognize you, the participants, who traveled in from out of town, and those that have tuned in online and are participating as virtual delegates. I know your schedules are busy, so it means a lot to us to know that you chose to spend your time with us this week, helping to make our Army stronger and better. This year's Family Forum topics were carefully chosen based on what we collectively thought was important. And Patty has done a great job scheduling so many knowledgeable and experienced speakers to lead discussions here this week. These forums highlight all the great work that is being done to support Army families, and we could not be more proud of the panelists who have agreed to share with us their knowledge of these topics. We hope to learn more as we discuss the well-being of our soldiers and family members, with special emphasis on our wounded warriors, our surviving spouses and family members, and our military children. It is incredible to think that our nation has been at war for over 11 years, and how all of our spouses and families have supported our soldiers every step of the way. Throughout 36 years as an Army spouse, I have witnessed firsthand the resiliency, strength, and adaptability of our soldiers and their family members. I have had the honor of meeting some truly remarkable people who quietly serve our nation every day and are truly Kim Gatson, an Army spouse, mom, West Point graduate, former soldier, and the wife of Colonel Greg Gatson, who is the Fort Belvoir Garrison Commander and the first double amputee to command at an Army post. Before her husband's injury, Kim was balancing family, work, and military life while her husband was deployed to Iraq, and I know many of you can relate and understand that. Following her husband's injury, Kim became Greg's caregiver and has been a pillar of strength for her husband and children, helping him recover and her children succeed and grow. Truly amazing, selfless service. Next, I'd like to acknowledge Kristen Santos Silva, who lost her husband, Staff Sergeant Carlos Santos Silva, on March 2nd, 2010 in Afghanistan. After the loss of her husband, she realized she wanted to further her education, so she moved herself and her young son to the D.C. area to attend school and build a new life, while at the same time staying connected with the Army and involved in survivor outreach. Kristen is an active member of my husband's Survivor Outreach Services Advisory Board, and he relies on her counsel to ensure that we are providing the best support possible for our survivors. I admire Kristen's energy and positive outlook on life, and she is a great role model for our surviving spouses and families. The third remarkable person I would like to recognize is Lieutenant General Patty Horoho. Patty is a lifelong, dedicated nurse who was selected last year to be the first female Army Surgeon General. In this role, she is the Army's most senior medical advisor. She is working tirelessly to continue to improve delivery of health care to the force as well as to our family members. She is striving to improve awareness and establish realistic programs to improve overall wellness. Her dedication and focus is infectious. Patty's husband, Ray, is a great Army spouse who served 26 years in the Army before retiring in 2006. He is currently working as a senior human capital executive for the Center for Human Capital Innovation, while supporting his wife and her military career. You will have an opportunity to meet these remarkable people this week during the forums, as they are a few of the knowledgeable experts that Patty Barron has chosen to speak to us. They are extremely resilient people, and I am convinced that we can all learn from them. It was not that long ago that I learned that resilience can be taught and strengthened. With the help of the right resources, we can build and sustain the resilience of every soldier and family member to keep our Army strong. In closing, I encourage you to attend the family forums. I am convinced that they will be informative sessions where you will hear dynamic speakers with powerful messages. I also encourage you to engage in productive discussions during the sessions. Please don't be afraid to ask any questions. I plan to attend the forums and look forward to meeting you and talking with you during the week. No matter when you join the Army family, membership in our Army family lasts a lifetime. It's a lifetime of friendships, camaraderie, special bonds, and the knowledge that you are part of something greater than yourself. Together, I am convinced that we can make a difference while we continue to provide the best support for our Army families. Thank you again for coming today and showing your great support. Thank you.
Well, Well, I say we're off to a really great start. Thank you so much, Mrs. Odierno. Those were really very inspiring words, and I can't wait to meet all those folks, too. I've been talking to them on the phone so much for the last many months. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you two soldiers who have spent a lifetime of service to our country and care very deeply about our soldiers and their families. They are combat veterans, Army leaders, and decision makers, but I would venture to say that their most important roles have been as husbands and fathers. Please join me in welcoming the Commander of the United States Army Installation Management Command and the Army's Assistant Chief of Staff for Installation Management, Lieutenant General Mike Ferreter, and his Command Sergeant Major Earl Rice.
Thank you, Patty. Well, is it a great day to be a soldier or what? Well, welcome to this week's Leadership Forum, and Sergeant Major Rice and I are really, really pleased to be here with you, and we're really humbled at the responsibility that we have while serving in these positions to take care of our soldiers and our family members and our retirees, our wounded warriors, and our Gold Star special people, and our entire workforce. And so it's a great day to be with you. And Mrs. Odierno, thank you so much for being here and your leadership this year, and all that you are doing personally each day for the Army and for Army families. We've got an all-star list of folks in the room. I'd like to first of all, I think people are going to filter in based on the schedule, and so tell them I said they were awesome. And then also, we do have Assistant Secretary of the Army, Ms. Catherine Hammock, who is here, and she's our installations and energy and environment and my battle buddy as well, so thank you for being here. We also have just an incredible amount of talent in the room, and really you can't approach this subject of families without considering the triad that we have working, and many, many more. In fact, the entire Army, the Army staff, the Surgeon General's office, my good friend Howard Bromberg in the G1's office, and then the AXIM and the IMCOM team. And Ms. Diane Randon is the new deputy of AXIM, and Major General Sonny Uberti is here from Installation Management Command, and Major General Al Aycock is also here. And then I'd also like to thank Sergeant Major Rice and Margie for their great partnership and their great work. If there are any Gold Star family members, would you be kind enough to stand up at this time? We'd like to recognize you as well, please. I know you never want to do this. So Margie told me a second ago that our daughter-in-law, Lauren, is watching in from Hawaii. So she and many, many others, I'm sure, are also participating in still an awesome way for us to do this. And so if we go to this first slide, there's a lot of questions bouncing around, and I'm not sure if this is working as well. A lot of questions are bouncing around about what's going to happen in this year, what's going to happen with regards to money, and what's going to happen with regards to our promise to soldiers and their families. And I would tell you that we came on board, everyone said to us, whoa, that IMCOM, that's a hard job. That's a big, hard job. And when you have the Secretary of the Army saying, hey, listen, champion soldiers and civilians, and you have the Chief of Staff of the Army saying, sustain the high quality, and really when you have their full support that we have, it's not a hard job. There's work to be done. But we are not going to break the promise. And in fact, the family programs and the budget that we put into the family programs last year and this year are the same. And so there's no diminished funding for family programs and child youth services and Army community service and all related activities. In fact, now it's more important to double down on the contemporary need, the most recent need, and that's where you'll see slight changes on your installations, because Army substance abuse or suicide prevention or sexual harassment, we are reinforcing those while finding still new methods of delivery of the services that you're getting on installation. So we really didn't think that it was going to be a real challenge, because we knew that separately we cannot accomplish what we need for the Army, but together we can all accomplish. When I heard that I was going to have the opportunity for this awesome assignment, I told the Chief of Staff of the Army, perfect fit, and I'm ready to get going. It was about 18 months ago, and we were in Iraq at the time, and I also said I heard this was coming, so of course I'm all in. But we're all in for a reason. I just want to make a quick introduction. So the next slide highlights the Ferreters. And most of you, especially the second row and third row here, who we've all grown up with, most of you know. That's Dr. Megan Ferreter standing in the black running suit. She recently got her PhD in cultural anthropology. Maggie is staying with us at our house, and so I told her, you know, after your PhD, let's try a job. She responds with I tell my friends, Dad, that I am actually caring for my elderly parents. So she's awesome, and we're awfully proud of her. And standing next to her is Captain Patty Ferreter, our little Irishman there in the blue shirt, and his wife Lauren, who I think is listening in. And they're a Stryker Company Command team in the Great 25th Infantry Division in Hawaii. And Patty was playing soccer about age 13, and so was Lauren. Lauren was in the front seat driving up and down to Atlanta from Fort Benning. Patty was asleep in the way back, and somewhere about age 18, he realized there were girls in the world, and they were able to link up, and they've been married for about 2 years now. And standing next to Patty, or to Lauren, is Jessica, our daughter-in-law. Jessica's married to Dan. Dan and Jess were second and third grade boyfriend-girlfriend at Fort Benning. And after Ranger School, a buddy said, you should go by and see Miss Jessica, because she grew up pretty nicely. And so he did, and they were married. Dan deployed with 3rd Ranger Battalion last week on his 6th combat deployment, and Patty has 4 there. Standing next to Dan is First Lieutenant Mary Whitney Ferreter Whitaker with her husband Garrett. They went to Gonzaga University, and Mary Whitney is promotable. In about 2 weeks, we'll promote her to captain. She's at Fort Benning, and Garrett's serving in the 75th as well. And so the real point was, when asked, you know, are you ready to take on the challenge of taking care of Army families, partnering with your husbands and spouses, and worldwide, making sure we do what's right, we thought, too easy. This is a perfect fit for us. Next slide. So October 2nd, a year ago, so we're almost 1 year in command now. And October 2nd, 1 year ago, Dan had a family day, and this young sergeant probably gave me the best advice that I could have received coming on board. And he was standing by his Stryker. Guys, it was at Fort Lewis, and people were standing around watching, and spouses were shooting miles, equipment and stuff. And he said, hey, General Ferreter, congratulations, welcome back. What are you going to do next? And I said, Sergeant Foster, I'm going to be the AUSA of the entire United States Army in the MCOM CG. And being a good squad leader, he looked at his boots, and he looked back up at me and said, AUSA, what's that? We go to the next slide. And I said, it's everything. It's everything important about taking care of families. And so 217 fitness centers, all of the family programs, 233 child development centers, 74 installations, about a $20 billion budget and $10 billion a year operating budget, 50 golf courses that I think I should personally inspect to ensure they're doing what's right. But I told them it's everything. And I said, you know, there's about 107,000 people on the team working every single day. And so the advice was this: as you go back and see Sergeant Jacob Foster there, he looked down at the ground again and said, 100,000 people, you're going to have on this one, General. And so again, the point is, you are all our squad leaders. You are, you know, on behalf of the Chief and Mrs. Odierno, we are all the squad leaders that are going to take care of these great young soldiers and families, and our own workforce and our retired population. And so wherever we go, we're ready to listen for really good feedback and your thoughts on how we do things. So if you would go forward. And so Sergeant Major Rice was in Iraq, and I asked him, what do you think you're going to do next? And then I asked him to join the team as he came out of Iraq and reset himself. And we've been together this past 10 months or so, Sergeant Major.
I just say what a great day to be a soldier. And having an opportunity to serve soldiers and families, I mean, it is awesome. When the chief tells us that we're going to maintain a ready and resilient Army, and here's your mission, here's your job, that's what we do. Maintain a ready and resilient Army. And as you see the next the slide prior, it showed our platforms of building and maintaining a ready and resilient force. I mean, we have it. We have it because we listen to the force, we listen to you on what is it we need. What programs are working, what programs are not working. You know the needs of our families, and we've heard a number of superstars that's been out in our force. Colonel Greg Gadsden, a wounded warrior, superstar. First Sergeant Curry, Lucia Curry, who she lost him in Afghanistan. Miss Silver. All over our force, that we know that we got to have the best programs to take care of it. We got to have best programs to take care of our soldiers. We got to have best programs to make sure that we maintain a ready and resilient forces. And so as you look at our fitness facilities, what is it we need to have in there to make sure we have the right balance they can maintain and relieve that stress? Having the right fitness facilities. Again, soldiers can go in there because they know they have to be ready to fight our nation's wars. We have to provide them the facilities in order to do that. You look at it, substance abuse programs. How do we eliminate that from our force? And that's bringing on the right counselors, having the right programs that can help us eliminate, to take care of that domestic violence, to take care of that dependency on drugs and alcohol. And we know we can do it. We know that you tell us we need to fix it. You know, our soldiers are needing help. What programs can we put in place to do it? We're here to listen. And this year goes back to saying how many programs are out of installation. And each of our garrisons, each of our senior command teams have scrubbed their list, and some installations, 550 programs on an installation, and going to the one-to-end list on that and identifying what's effective and what's not. Let's put the dollars that we do have, because we know they're declining dollars, let's put them to the programs that make a difference for our soldiers and our families. And your feedback helps us shape that. But it's not always about the dollars. I think it's about the leadership, and that really comes from you. That comes from our chief, our Second Army, saying, "Hey, this is what's important to maintaining a ready and resilient force."
Go next slide, please, Greg. Thanks. So we're going to give you an update on about 4 different general topics: Army Community Service, child youth development, and recreation. So Army Community Service. First, to bring you up to speed, we've taken the decision as an Army that the FRSAs, as you've known them, and the value that they bring and that they have, those will reside now at the brigade level. So because of the amount of dwell time or the stay-at-home time that units will have, the Army, we have decided that we'll go to brigade level, and then when a brigade gets in the ready rack to deploy, then we'll push down for battalion level. And so you'll hear questions on that. And the senior commander, you know, one of the keys for General Odierno is that the senior commander, the 2-star, 3-star, or 1-star commander on an installation, have the freedom to move his assets around or her assets around to take care of things. So FRSA's very valuable program at brigade level, and then pushed to reinforce for deploying units. The Military Family Life Consultants, very strong program, valued by everyone that sees and gets to be around them. No change to that program. That program will continue. There's a lot of questions always on, I heard this, and is there a cut there? And then comprehensive soldier fitness, comprehensive soldier and family fitness. You'll get a few more. Ken Riddle's here, Colonel Ken Riddle. You'll hear more about that during the whole week. But the Chief Sergeant Major of the Army and the Secretary have said, look, comprehensive soldier fitness is very good for soldiers in building resiliency, and let's find a way to be inclusive to the families as well, for either through Army family team building or other methods to permit the training of our families in resiliency training, master resiliency, and the like. Survivor Outreach Services, if we hit that, please. It's been a really, really awesome year working with our Survivor Advisory Group, the Chief Survivor Advisory Group, and through the Army Family Action Plan and program as well. And so you're going to see things, and you're already seeing just simple things that message things like Gold Star parking. So in our PXs and commissaries, to highlight the significance of our Gold Star families, and as Margie often says, let him sneak in. Come on in, sir. Cool. Said, you know, even if you should have heard what I said about you, sir. It was awesome. I told you guys, cover me now when they get in here. You know, if there's a Gold Star parking spot, and even if it's not filled, that signals to the entire Army community how much we care about it. And so you'll see those coming in. ID cards for our Gold Star family members. Can you imagine being the mother and losing your son, and you never had an ID card before? And as you try to come and get the services on an installation and having to go through our gate guards, it's you know, an intimidating situation. And so we're able to get those for them. And again, the decals are on some of the windshields I've seen. So we want to get we're moving fast on this, and then we want to make sure that we don't have someone, when the guard says to them, I'm sorry, before you come in, you're going to have your sponsor with you. And then that person has to say, let me explain. Or I need to search your car since I don't, you know, all you have is a driver's license. And they're just trying to get on post. We're working with joining forces and Miss Obama's and Miss Joe Biden and things like admission spaces for Gold Star families. We all know that in 15 years, many of these, you know, these young kids will grow up, and the war will be 15 years behind us. So we want to do the hard work now to ensure that the families are taken care of, that the universities make commitments to us, and that we have a way to ensure, whether it's someone who's a 17-year-old going to college next year or a 17-month-old, that the Army and that the nation retain that commitment. And then just the access for our group and the group to meet with Ms. Odierno and the Chief and to discuss their ideas has been very, very positive. We're going to try to also educate the nation. And so for the next year, and maybe even in the Super Bowl, you could see a commercial that really, a PSA, public service announcement, that talks about what a Gold Star means. Because many will see that, our civilian, you know, everyone across America may not have any idea of the commitment and the sacrifice of our Gold Star families.
But I also say, you know, we continue the partnership. We reach out. There's tons of folks across America who wants to help us help our soldiers and families. And so how do we partner with them? We, you know, partner with the TAPS to be able to take care of our survivors. And you know, I mean, and we know and we believe that no one can do it better than we can. But we're also open to reach out our arms and say, hey, we are here to partner with you to provide the best service for our soldiers and our families. And so it's who do we reach out to and how do we reach out to, and allowing folks to come in to help us. And so that's taking advantage of the resources that we have and taking advantage of the resources that others have and saying there is a way. And so I know folks come to you every day and want to help. I want to help a soldier. How do we invite them in to our home and say, let's take care of these soldiers? A few minutes ago, I talked to the CASA from California. What can we do to help? You know, what do you need help from me? How can I help you? And it's every day that someone's looking to us, and we have to be masters, you know, at partnering with folks outside of our community. outside of our gates, because all services are not going to be provided on the installation itself. Just like with our family housing, you know, 2/3 of our families live outside of our gates in our communities, and so we got to look to our communities to help us with the services, and they are there to do exactly that.
Greg, go back to slide, and you can see the Army Community Covenant. Hit that one as well, Sergeant Major, as he brings that up. You know, there's 41 states that have signed an interstate compact with the Army, and you know, those are the kind of things as we've moved our children around, where they get to senior year and they find out they didn't take freshman history in that state, and so we're continuing to press to get all 50 states. And to be able to, you know, just make it that much easier for an Army family to be as mobile as they always are. And then again, the Joining Forces campaign that the First Lady's office and Dr. Joe Biden as well, working with them and working through the credentialing. I think we're at over 30 states where the professional credentialing of our military families can now either allow them time, you know, 180 to a year long before they get credentialed, or give them credit from the last state they were in. And so these are the kind of things we're still working on. And go back and go forward, please. And go forward. There. Sexual assault, you know, the huge amount of work that commanders and command sergeants major across the Army are doing. And we're assisting them along with the G1. And it just turns out that we have way too much of this crime, and we're going to stamp it out. We've rewritten what was called the First Sergeant Barracks program, where we had our civilians at Installation Management Command in charge of assigning the rooms to our soldiers. And the unintended consequence was that we were placing people in a hazardous position. And we may have put young girls, a young soldier on a floor with 10 rooms on both sides of her were all male soldiers, and downstairs and upstairs, and she wasn't even with her unit. So our Sergeant Major Rice and the Command Sergeant Majors of the ACOMs have worked this one, so they'll go back to the Brigade Sergeant Majors for control, and we'll go back to brigade configuration and down to battalion configuration and strive towards company. So you really do have that battle buddy with the new soldier.
Over the past decade, we have put billions of dollars into our barracks. And that's providing quality of life to our soldiers that they truly deserve. And how do we protect that? You know, our garrison teams have come in there and they've developed a First Sergeant Barracks program. How do we assign rooms? How do we maintain the work orders that General Rodriguez beats us up about? You know? But what we have right now is it's the partnership piece. We need our leadership back into barracks. We need those team leaders in the barracks like they were years ago, you know, checking on soldiers every day. We need those squad leaders in the barracks every day. We need that battalion leadership in the barracks every day. Not every day with the battalion leadership, but we need them in there so they know how our soldiers are living. And so they can hold our feet to the fire and say, we're not maintaining the barracks where they need to be as far as maintaining work orders. And in doing so, with leadership in the barracks, leaders know what happens in the barracks, and that's how we take care of our soldiers. But together we can do it. And this First Sergeant Barracks 2020 program is about partnership. It's about keeping our garrison team. So even though we spent billions of dollars in the last decade, we have also developed an awesome system that allows us to better manage the barracks, better upkeep of the barracks, better use the resources that we have. And now all we have to do is get the leadership back in there. And the leadership having say of where soldiers need to go in the barracks and seeing what's going on inside the barracks to take care of our soldiers. And when you have leaders in the barracks, then you take the nonsense out of the barracks. And that's what it's all about.
Go ahead and go back there, Craig, or Greg. Yeah. And then go forward one. Yeah, so Child Youth Services, and you know, I grew up playing Little League sports and on Army bases. So I grew up in an Army family, and again, when I heard that we'd have a chance at this job, Margie told me, "No, you can't be a shortstop again." You know, those days are past. But we know that as the kids move around, And as we get to an installation, whether it's the Child Development Center or young youth activities to teen activities, if we keep them busy, we build their self-esteem, we build their self-confidence, we teach them how to be good players, good winners, and even how to lose and understand that there's a right way to do that. We're building the Army values within our youngsters. And so, and as I look around, I see all the folks that my kids grew up with playing those sports as well. So to that end, very, very strong programs will continue across all of our installations. As far as deployment, child care, and respite care, there's not going to be a change to the amount of hours that are permitted for those of our deployed soldiers, for those who are NCOs or officers in the Wounded Warrior battalions, so there still would be 16 hours per child per month authorized for those that are deployed. And then partnerships in education. You know, the Chief Staff of the Army's asked us, hey, we need to take a very hard look at schools across the nation. And we have, across America, 589 schools that have a population within the school of greater than 20% Army children. So almost 600 schools where 20% of the school is an Army family member. And with that in mind, thank you. With that in mind, we know which are the schools that we went across to our garrison commanders and senior commanders to find out exactly which schools need work. And then through the partnership in education, we have our NCOs and officers and family members leading in there. He just gave me a 10-minute warning, so. Next slide. And then finally, fitness and recreation. If you hit the fitness and sports, we've looked at all of our programs and we've taken, you know, from what's most valued, and at the top of those are those kind of things in writing that say our fitness centers are you know, highly valued and very effective. And so we're going to continue to press what happens in there, whether it's soldier, warrior training, or whether it's sports and intramurals, or whether it's youth service in there.
And we are publishing an order on intramural sports because we're going to take it to the next level.
Yeah,
and,
go back, Greg. Yep.
Twice a year.
Go ahead.
Twice a year we'll end up with the Commander's Cup. But it starts off at the installation level where they run their company and battalion level competitions, and then they'll compete at the regional level, and then we'll select a place around the universe here where we'll take those winners for the playoffs. And then hopefully we'll get the chief and the sergeant major of the Army out there to be part of that and present the Commander's Cup. This first one we're kicking off is for this December. It won't be at that same level, but by the spring, which is the chief said, the springtime, we will be able to take it through the full rotation to where we have installation, region, and the Commander's Cup competitions.
I'm going to say three things and then open the floor so we have some good questions. The one is go forward, please, and again, forward. And we'll be followed by General Talley and General Ingram, who will talk Guard and Reserve. But as we said this morning in the opening ceremony, total Army family programs, and then a way to get it to the families, whether they be Guardsmen, Reserve soldiers, or active duty, on an installation or off. Go next. And we wanted to talk a little bit more about these topics, but we'll see what your questions are. And go. So world-class customer service. Take away the thought that it doesn't cost a penny to make someone feel like $1 million. And so our customer service, and I always ask the group, raise your hand if you've been to an Army housing office in your life, right? Raise your hand if it was like going to Disney World. It was the best thing ever, right? We can do better, and we will this year. And so we will drill into it and get it right. And then we have great people everywhere, and I'm just go ahead and keep building. These stories will make you cry if you hear them all. And then when you go ahead and build one more, but they go back into it, and that's all the people in Installation Management Command that are making things happy. And then finally, we will work with, go ahead forward, anybody to take care of soldiers. So anybody. So we play with our cards facing out, and if you were playing Go Fish and you could see the other person's cards, life gets easy fast. So with that, thanks for listening, and we'll open the floor to some questions.
I just needed to make. Can everybody hear me?
We got you now.
All right. And that is, our virtual delegates were having trouble hearing, but I think the Divot site has fixed that, so hopefully you can hear us. And then the other thing that came through was that if some of folks are having problems with the buffering. You would think that I know what that means, but I don't. So I was told to say, make sure you update your Flash player and go to the Divot's website to do that, and that should help you with your buffering problem. And I would like to start with a virtual delegate question, sir,
Okay.
if I may. And this question came from Fort Hood. So who of Fort Hood? First
A great
question.
place. Who?
With the cuts to the budget, is there a plan for standardizing family programs across the Army? I look around and some posts are creating hybrid programs while others are doing other things.
The answer is yes. And the good news is when we get a program right, when we look at each, get it really delivered correctly across the Army, 74 installations like that. And those things that we wanted to talk about, sponsorship, starts getting a soldier in safely. That's being standardized. The transition and jobs, a soldier for life, that's being standardized. And what you'll find is some of that, the boutique approach, some of the nuance is just you want to have the All-American Warrior and Family Support Center and a great place. Some of it's in the name and some of it's in the process. And we are reviewing each one, and we believe at echelon, from the policy and program and from the chief down to the execution at the commander level, we need to let each person do their part. So execution, our commanders, command sergeant majors, and a concept that everyone understands will give us the standardization. Next slide. Next question. Question in the room? Over here? Over there.
Sir, my name is Rose Holland, and one of my questions is, with the Garden Reserve and income working with Garden Reserve, will they now be able to access all installation programs? I know AR 608-1 currently only serves Garden Reserve when they're on orders.
That's right.
Officially, and when you're looking at child care or you're looking at some of the other programs, Garden Reserve cannot access that. Will that change?
Yeah, I'll send General Uberti seriously to talk to you about it, but generally when activated is when that's provided to you, and the way that it's delivered when not activated, I'll let General Ingram and Jeff Talley speak in the next session to you about. But it's a very important question, and then Sonny's over here. We'll have him come see you. Is that a question? Shh. Stand up, and then the mic lady can see you. Thanks. Come this way. Yeah, you do, because they can't hear you downrange.
Okay, sorry. Hello, sir. I'm Teresa Brenler. I have a question regarding this partnership. I'd like to partnership with you. I believe we've missed a metric. In my children's high school, 3 military boys have lost their life by their own hand in the last 20 months. The school response is to take down the murals put up for them and to not allow the dance team to donate funds to the family.
Okay.
I think Fairfax County School Board is in the 19th century, and I would like your help, and I'd like to partner with you to raise suicide awareness,
You bet.
training,
Yep.
prevention. My own daughter hid her depression from me, the daughter of a bipolar disorder mother and a father who committed suicide. She hid it from me for 1 year and defied her pediatric psychiatrist.
Okay.
I want to talk
We'll
about
work
this.
with you right away.
Thank you.
Thanks for
It's-
standing
I
up.
think this school is in crisis, and it's very important to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Awesome.
Sir, I'm Mrs. Jacobs from Headquarters AUSA. I see we're represented up
Cool.
there. Family Readiness Program Manager. This morning, the Secretary of the Army told us things that may keep him awake at night. What are 2 things, one from each of you, that may keep you awake in reference to families?
Well, all the hard questions go to Sergeant Major first, so he'll answer, and then I'll answer. I don't want to steal his answer, so go ahead, Sergeant Major.
What a great day to be a soldier. So really, it's about getting the programs right that takes care of soldiers and families. And some of them, again, what's out there that can help us take care of these families to where we can relieve that stress? What can we do better to relieve the stress off the force? We know we have the most professional and the best Army in the world by far, you know? So what is it we can help them do to reduce that stress level? And I think making our programs more effective in some cases. Transition being one. The Army says we're going to transition 100,000 soldiers in the next 5 years. And we know that means we're going down about 20,000 soldiers a year. Does our programs line up to meet that, and are they lining up fast enough to meet the needs of their soldiers and families? Because as the Chief said, we're going to come down 20,000 a year. We're going to transition with our families, and we're going to make sure that the programs take care of our families. So our transition program, it changed from soldiers having to sign up 90 days in advance to do pre-separation to where now it has to be 12 months in advance. And so we bring them in and we teach them how to do job searches. We teach them how to prepare resumes. We teach them how to go in and deliver with an effective hiring event. Now, I mean, on here we saw job fairs, but you saw we do it 140 plus in the last year, because we're putting pressure on them and we're raising that to where when the employers come to our installations, they're coming with their cards facing out. They're coming and saying, I have 10 jobs, I have 100 jobs. And our mission is to make sure that we're preparing our soldiers. When you prepare a resume, it's not to say you're going to get a job, it's to make sure you get an interview. And we're confident enough to say if our soldiers and family members get an interview, you're going to hire them, because it's the best workforce in the world. And it's just us, as the boss said about concepts, can we get the concepts right fast enough? And we're working that with a team approach to make sure we can do that, as well as sponsorship. How in the world can we have a soldier and a family transition across the world and we haven't made connection with them? About 120 days out, HRC notifies our soldiers and families that they're going to PCS. We have a program in place where we reach out and notify them they're coming on board. The gaining unit knows that they're getting a new soldier, and all we have to do is make that connection. We're there. You know, we have the commanders in the field, General Rodriguez, General Cohn, over in AUSA stood up and said, we want to help you do more. You know, we're going to make this commitment. So November 15th, there's a pilot program that's going to say no soldiers are going to PCS. No orders will be cut unless we make connection with the sponsor and the PCS and soldier and families. Because sponsorship ties into colonels and below and GS-15s and below. And the Army is committed to making sure that we take care of our family. And we're working hard every day to make sure that we can do that. That keeps me up at night, because I know moving PCS and transitioning out to the military is extremely stressful, either one.
We have such a great workforce, and so the thing that probably keeps me up is how can we get everybody connected to understand how working together we're going to take care of the families. And so every organization has a life cycle, and so there's a brand new garrison commander somewhere today or last month or 2 months ago, and he's got to connect with the commanding general. They got to build trust. The whole workforce is watching, and so we've all grown up building teams. And so to me, it's the same battle drill, same game again. Get together. Don't let people turn their cards inward. Don't let someone say, I'll show up with only this much because the authorities say. Get everyone. And so there are 3 or 4 levels on any installation to teach everybody, and there's a lot going around, like Sergeant Foster said at the beginning. And so little by little, we see it coming together, and as we do that, and we can deliver, and we can see people working hard together, then I'll probably rest well at night. But it's a lot of people. It is the Army, but we can do it when we decide to.
We have about 5 minutes, sir.
All right.
So
Sir?
Question for
Yes.
2 more.
Okay.
Kathleen Thornton, Fort Meade, Maryland.
Hello.
Just let me preface this by saying that in my husband's 28-and-a-half-year career, we have always lived on the military installation. So we have seen the entire gamut of the changes. Our first installation was Fort Devens, Massachusetts. What is being done about building a conduit or a conduit system between the privatized housing people and the military/the garrison? There has been a dramatic change when you are literally handed the housing handbook by the person representing the company that you are paying your rent to, and you are told, by the way, basically, it's just kind of a guideline. We kind of sort of change things up as we need to, depending upon who you are. I find that one a little bit hard to swallow, and due to the internet and everything that's out there, I see a large amount of people being treated drastically different because of who they are or who they are married to. Is there any system coming up to be put into play to work as a conduit?
Well, sure enough. I think the conduit is leadership, and so in all cases, you're going to have to get those people together and say, why is this going on? The privatization of Army family housing is a partnership with a residential community, and that garrison commander and that senior commander are supposed to have a 49%, 51%. But when involved, I found that we can do anything at any installation. And I haven't been to meet, and I'll come see you soon, and I'll come see them soon.
You want my address?
But at another installation, someone said the very same thing, and 1 week later it was changed. And so here, visualize this. The team in installation services in the Pentagon AXIM and the team at IMCOM, you're going to be able to walk in the housing office before you know it, and there'll be a big old wide screen in there, and you type in Staff Sergeant or Colonel, and a picture of every house on that installation that you qualify for will be there. And then if someone's living in it, it'll kind of grayscale out. So all of these houses is what that family is authorized to have. And then...
Accountability, sir, is what I'm looking for.
Too easy. Then the next part will be that a tour can occur, and someone can say, this is the living room, this is the dining room. I'm looking through the kitchen window, that's the sewage plant. Oh, stop. Right? And then finally, someone in Vilseck, Germany, who gets sponsored, as Sergeant Major said, to Fort Benning, can go online and do the virtual tour and select their house, because we're good enough to do that. And as much as you put information technology to your concern, my leader and the leader of that RCI have to sit down and get it straight. And that's what I promise I'll get with you and do.
Thank you.
And I think that's about all the time that we have for questions tonight, or today. But thank you so very much, sir, and Command Sergeant Major Rice.
Thank you all. Thanks. Thank you.
Hi there. So for our virtual delegates that ask questions online, we do have a record of those questions, and we will try very hard to find answers for you and post them on our Facebook page in the next week